Would you rather be caught in the woods with a strange man or a bear? That's the viral question breaking brains and the internet lately. Get your blue light glasses on because it's screen time. You may remember a few years ago, a poll found that 6% of Americans thought they could take a grizzly bear in a fight. Very confident for man, given bear's size, weight, claws, teeth. So if we have very little chance of survival up against a bear, why are women choosing bear when asked, would you rather be caught in the woods alone with a man or a bear? This trend has elicited some very sad stories from women about their encounters with dangerous and evil men, not all men. Then I saw this meme with a woman saying, we don't trust men, so we choose bear, and a man replying, so you understand why I don't want a man in the bathroom with my daughter, and the Uno reverse card was pulled. If men are so dangerous, get them the hell out of our bathrooms, our locker rooms, and other spaces. And if the physical advantage that a man has over a woman is so daunting that they'd rather take on a bear, then get men out of our sporting events too. But I was interested in finding out a little more, and a topic like this calls for a battle of the sexes man on the street. So I went out in Nashville to ask the women what they think, and producer Nick went out in New York City to talk to the guys. Watch.
I'd probably say the bear. At least you could maybe be friendly with it and it would like you. A man, that would just be creepy.
Yeah, what scares you about being stuck with a strange man?
His attentions, probably.
I don't know, men are weird.
Bear. Why bear?
Because all that they could do me is like try and hurt me. I don't know what the man's gonna do.
What do you think a man would do?
Really bad things, but leave me alive.
Bear.
Yeah, bear.
Why bear?
I feel like they're more predictable than men.
Yeah, and like depending on the type of bear, I feel like they'll get scared away.
Yeah.
Men unfortunately aren't.
It depends on the men.
It depends on the man. What kind of man would you want to meet? What about a bear? A nice bear?
Maybe. If he's soft and cuddly, okay.
A bear! Why?
All of the women said they'd rather get stuck with a bear. How does that make you feel?
I kind of understand it. You know, I understand the generalization of it because I know it's not meant for every guy. You know, it's meant for, the dangerous one.
It definitely makes me have my questions, like what type of bear are we talking about? Are we talking about like a little baby bear, like a cub? We talking about like a Chicago bear? Like is this all like a full-on bear or like a human Chicago bear or like a baby? Like, kind of makes me wondering because that's how I can better answer the question.
As everybody's getting divided in this world, the fact that people are going to pick a wild animal that could maul you, kill you over a man, and I don't know, that's not a good sign.
We as men can step up to be a little more welcoming and a little more gentlemanly and a little more chivalrous. As a girl dad, it is something that I hope to see, and I hope that my friends who are raising boys are instilling in their sons to be proper men.
People have began to see masculinity as something that's toxic per se, but I think there's nothing wrong with being a strong man. I think that's what we need.
Would you rather be caught in the woods with a man or a bear?
Man.
Man, why man?
Protection.
Okay. Okay. What would protect you against the bear?
The man, because then I could run.
He's just the bait.
He is the bait.
A random man.
Okay. Why random man?
Human, at least he can sympathize with me at some point. When I think of bear, I think of hungry beast.
I feel like I have a winning chance. With a strange man, I can fight them off a little bit better than a bear.
A strange man.
Strange man, why?
I think it'd be easier to control.
You're not worried about what the man would do?
Not at 63, no.
There's a lot more men in the world than there are bears, and the majority of bears are dangerous when I don't think the majority of men are dangerous.
If my wife or daughter were lost in the woods, I think I would prefer for them to run into a man, because a man carries a cell phone that may or may not have a signal.
Man could help them build shelter, try and find them some safety. I don't know, maybe hunt, cook them up some food, doing a man's job.
If you really wanted to find out the answer, I think we got to test the theory. I think we got to go to the woods, and we have to have a caged bear animal, and someone like me or someone like whoever, and see who they'd really choose.
So I found this kind of a social experiment very interesting because when I talked to a lot of the younger women, younger girls, they were aware of the TikTok trend, right? So they've seen a bunch of videos of women choosing bear. So I don't know if they were just conditioned to choose bear or they thought, bear was the right answer. But when I asked other women who weren't aware of the TikTok trend, they said men. And they were like, well, obviously men, because I could fight off a man and I can't fight off a bear. Then on the other hand, statistically, you are more likely to be attacked by a man than a bear. But, in this hypothetical situation, it is interesting to see that kind of generational gap, but then not even the generational gap, but just people who are on TikTok versus not. And then I thought it was really sad too, seeing Nick's answers that he got from the men, because they were like, well, why would men not be the answer? Like, I would help the woman. I would help them get away from the bear. So I don't know. I have an irrational fear of bears. I don't go anywhere where I would come in contact with any of them, really. One time, my friends and I got a house, like an Airbnb in the Poconos during COVID because we were all living in New York City and we needed to get out and get fresh air. And so we all packed up whatever, none of my friends really had cars, but one of them did. So we packed up all these snacks in her car, went up to the Poconos, and one of my friends said, well, we have to get the snacks out of the trunk before we go into the house because then a bear could get into the car. And I was like, what? Sorry, what did you say? Because that is not like my idea of a vacation, being, on edge, whether or not a bear could come and attack us. So I don't know. I couldn't watch that scene in The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio. I had to turn that off. I haven't even thought about watching Cocaine Bear because if I'm afraid of regular bears, imagine that fear on steroids or cocaine. So if you're wondering what I would choose, man or bear, in the middle of the woods, despite my massive and irrational bear fear, I am choosing to arm myself because now I'm everyone's worst nightmare. In 2024, workplaces are going woke, not mine. Y'all stay safe though. And pronouns are unfortunately having their moment. It is the left's most ridiculous virtue signal yet, and it has gotten out of control.
I was in a call with these girls from another company. We were leading it together. There's like 40 to 50 people in the call. They're doing their intros and they're like, hi, my name's Hadley Grace Ann and my pronouns are she, her. Whatever. They were so happy to do it. They talk about all their spiel, whatever. It gets to me, it's my turn. I start talking. I'm just like, hey, I'm Jackson. I do this, I do that. Keep talking. Tell me why Lily Pulitzer III interrupts me and she goes, oh, you didn't tell us your pronouns. Ah! I don't know, bitch. Tell me what I am. Use your deductive reasoning skills and tell me what the I am.
I love when he's like, ah! Like that's his reaction is most of us. And here's why bending to the smallest fraction of the population is a slippery slope. It's no longer about respecting other people's differences and decisions, whether you agree or not. Now it's, if you don't participate in my fantasy, you're fired.
You're fired.
Woke corporate America is the live action If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Remember that book, the cute kids book? If you don't, here are the spark notes. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. And then when you give him that milk, he's going to want a straw. And then he's going to want a napkin to wipe his mouth. And then he's going to want more and more and more and more and more. This is the left. If you give an inch, they take a mile. And now even the girliest sorority girls have been brainwashed into putting she/her in their email signatures, in their Instagram bios, on dating apps. We know. I don't need you to tell me your pronouns. I can tell by looking at you. And it's worked for the better part of humanity. And if it's not broke, why break it? If you identify as what you were born as and you present that way, get your pronouns out of your bio. If you look at me, nobody should be confused as, what I am and what I go by. Therefore, I don't need to participate in the farce. If you're confused, I will pray for you. I will respect you. You can do whatever you need to do, but don't drag me into it. On a lighter note, this little boy went through a wide range of emotions, and forget his sleeve, he wore them all on his face in a matter of seconds when he found out it was not his birthday.
To you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charlie. Happy birthday to you.
Here recovered quickly, smiling through the pain as to not let anyone know he was very upset, and it's very cute. The comment section had a field day, and it was very funny. When you're at a restaurant and you think the server is bringing your food, but it goes to the table across from you. Me at work thinking I'm getting a promotion this year. Michael Scott vibes. And honestly, I have to say that this is a very good impression of Tom Brady at the roast, because he was just smiling through the pain the entire time. I don't know what that face was, but that was it. And I don't know why, but there were a lot of people who pointed out this baby's resemblance to Joe Biden. I don't see it, but they probably pooped their pants the same amount. There were also a few comments that completely blew my mind. We have to sing to my nephew and let him blow out the candles on everyone's birthday. And then my mom let me open a present at my sister's birthday party so I didn't feel left out. Why? Why would you create a monster instead of using it as a teachable moment that everyone has a birthday and today is not yours? And that's okay. We celebrate other people when they have their birthdays. And then when it comes time for your birthday, everyone celebrates you. That's not tough love. That's just reality. And the next generation is totally doomed. On that note, it is time for our screen time reports, where I recognize that I am part of the problem with the next generation. But first, we must roast last week's loser, Dylan, who came in at the very last second and saved Nick Sia by the bell, because Nick Sia was about to have the highest screen time, and then Dylan had 8 hours and 38 minutes. He is being shamed with this fish picture that I found on his Instagram. It was the only thing I could really make fun of him for, really, because guys always post their fish pictures. It's just cliche. But on to this week, we have Brooke at 5 hours and 10 minutes, Molly 4 hours 34 minutes, Chuck 6 hours and I think it was 12 minutes, Kylie 5 hours 47 minutes, Juliana 5 hours 41 minutes, Nick Sia 3 hours 57 minutes. Maybe he was scared from like almost losing last week that he really turned his phone off. Nick Femia 7 hours, 23 minutes. And that's interesting because I asked Nick Femia last week and he was like, oh, I don't have my screen time turned on. And I was like, well, turn it on. So he sent me his screen time from last week and it was 5 hours, but it was too late in time for the taping. So I was like, well, I'll just circle back with you next week. And, you know, now he's in the screen time club. So 7 hours, 23 minutes. He is the highest screen time aside from myself. I have to check mine. And I know that I said that I would put parental controls on my screen time, but then I went to the Morgan Wallen concert and my phone turned off and I needed to call an Uber, so I turned off the parental controls and then I forgot to turn them back on. So I will have to update that. All right, my screen time is 13 hours, 35 minutes, down 8% from last week, it says. So, and that's all I've got. I've got to go get my scroll on. Follow along with me at Hayley Caronia on all platforms, and I'll see you next week.